those who discovered it recently, or for those not yet born, who will someday discover it too. There is no death, and when there are people left to remember, Pernell Roberts will always be remembered well. And that's by Sharon Young. There's another lady. Her name is her last name is Young. And she told me the story. Again, it's very similar about Bonanza, growing up with her three big brothers and her surrogate pa. And how when she was raising her children, she used to say to her, now what would Pa do? Or what would Adam say about this? And she said she really relied on that solid foundation to teach her children principles. Well, years later, her children were grown. She decided she wanted another career. What came on television was Dr. John and people. And she said, I don't mind going to nursery. And to this day, she's a registered nurse. She said, I owe a lot of my life to Pernell Roberts. And these are the kinds of stories, they sound maybe frivolous, but these are the kinds of stories. These are the people that he touched, hundreds and thousands of people that he touched. I'm sure he never knew. We tried to tell him many times. And I hope he did know some part of it. But he'll never know. We'll never know. I mean, he really was. Well, I'm sure all of you knew that Pernell had a wonderful singing voice. Gregory Harrison has a wonderful voice. And Brian Stokes Mitchell is a great star of Broadway musicals. Although you never know it from that singing. But I think it looks like that. They're having a lot of fun together. I think that's what really counts. I want to have some sharing. I want a section for sharing for folks. Now, I mentioned it to people, and I hope any of you feel it. If you want to share something, I'll just ask them. If you want to tell a story, you want to, just whatever you feel like you want to share about Pernell, it's fine. If you don't want to, that's fine too. Nobody's obligated in any way to participate, but anybody who would like to, I would love to have you. I want to tell you a very touching story from me. And it happened to me in 1982, my first trip to Waycross. I was shopping at Penny's with my girlfriend. I think Penny's was over on Ninth Avenue then. And we met this young lady who was working there. A lovely young lady, who I would guess in her mid-20s. Extremely pregnant. Which I suppose means she probably could be a grandmother by now. But her name was Denise. She told me the story that when she was little, they lived down the street from Mr. and Mrs. Roberts. And Denise's mother was always making jelly or making pickles or pickle oil or whatever she was making. And every time she did, she'd give Denise a jar and tell her, go bring this to Mrs. Roberts. So Denise would go down the street. She loved going to Mrs. Roberts' house. And Mrs. Roberts always had a group of cookies or some other goodie for her when she had. So this one day, Denise took her jar or whatever down to Mrs. Roberts, and she invited her in. And Mrs. Roberts said, oh, I don't think you've ever met our son. And she stepped in the living room, and she said, who do you think was sitting on the couch? Adam Cartwright. And she said she just froze. She couldn't believe it. And he asked her to sit on the couch with him, and he talked to her about school. He asked her what she liked to do, if she had any pets, what her favorite games were, and Mrs. Roberts served the cookies and milk, and they just sat there and chatted and chatted. And she said, I felt like I was a queen. He made me feel like I was so important to him. And I'll bet at that moment, she was the most important thing to him. Well, she thanked everybody, thanked Mrs. Roberts for the cookies, left and ran all the way home, ran to the door, screaming to her mother about who she just met. And her mother just laughed. And she said, I told you that man on television is the Roberts son. Well, obviously she was so young, she never made the connection. She never forgot the connection after that. But the part of the story that's most touching to me was after she told me the actual story. She said, I often think about that day, and I marvel at how he would take time to make a little girl You're so special. And I will never forget how important she made me feel that day. And the best part of the story was, I wish you could have seen her face when she told me. She had a glow on her face. She looked off in the distance with a beautiful smile, and her eyes just sparkled. You could tell that she was reliving that day with Pernell on the couch. And it meant every bit as much as she did it to me. So that was needless to say, I was very enchanted by my first trip to Waycross. That was only one of many stories I heard on that trip. But now I would like to ask a gentleman from Waycross, who I understand is also a transplant, who decided to come here and decided not to leave, Mr. Charles Eames. Charles is a former director of the library and a wonderful, very busy man around town from what I gather.
Well, most of you know who I am. And most of you have probably seen the spring issue of the Waycross magazine. Now I have a box that Dave Calais was good enough to give to me to bring here for you folks to look through. The centerfold article is on Pernell and my relationship with him a few years ago. And you're welcome to take a copy if you don't have one. But when Dave Calloway asked me to write up a short article on my relationship with Pernell Roberts, I was hesitant. I didn't think my experiences from 1988 to 1992 would make for a very interesting or insightful article. However, I did say yes. I enjoyed writing it. And Dave did a very good job with the article in the spring issue of Waycross magazine. And I've received many favorable comments from people in Waycross and by email from all over, not just all over the country, but I received emails from several people in England too. So this morning I won't repeat very much of what is in that article. Suffice it to say that most of my reminiscences were from the summer of 1988, just after our family moved to Waycross, and in March of 1991, when I made the week-long trip to California. I racked my brain trying to think of one or two anecdotes or things that I did not put in that article. And I would just say a couple things. First of all, Pernell was a very private person. He did not like to be out in public. On our California trip, there were several times when he engaged some people in conversation because he initiated it. I remember specifically his talking with several young men who were working on the buoys in the Morro Bay Harbor. They were, of course, thrilled to meet such a celebrity as Pernell, and he showed an interest in the details of their harbor work. Another time, when we stopped at a small banana plantation near Santa Barbara, he was very interested in talking with the owner about the different varieties of bananas that were growing there. But when we stopped at the Monterey Aquarium, Pernell told me, "Stay as long as you like, but since I don't like to be out in public, I won't go in." So I visited the aquarium for about an hour while Pernell waited in his VW van and read, I think, a French classic novel. He was really a Renaissance man, a very literate taste. I think it was something like Baudelaire or something like that he was reading. So he could be very cordial, even charming, when he could initiate the discussion or learn something new. But he could be understandably curt, maybe even coolish, if someone interrupted his meal by yelling, "Weren't you on the Ponderosa?" or words to that effect. He would say, "Yes." But by the expression in his voice, you could tell he did not like to have his privacy invaded on. The only other thing I would mention is the other incident that, again, I was trying to think of something he told me that would be of interest to you. He said, when we were driving, actually he did the driving, he drove his van, north of San Francisco in the Point Reyes National Seashore, he commented how much the green pastures and the roads made him think of New Zealand, a country both of us love, because I lived there for a while. but the roads, though paved, were winding, and after about an hour I got to feeling kind of queasy to my stomach. Well, he sensed this, and he stopped the van for a while, empathized with my being a passenger, and proceeded to tell me a memorable anecdote about his filming on location in Southern California. I presume it was an episode of Bonanza. It seems as though it was NBC policy that Teamster Union drivers were required to drive all actors and production crew to their filming location somewhere in the hills. Pernell simply could not agree with this policy because he, like me, had a tendency toward motion sickness when he was a passenger in a vehicle. So he fought the policy. He fought the policy, the Teamsters rule, and he won. So he was thereafter able to drive himself to any location filming. So those are just a couple of things that I remembered when I visited him in California back in '91. He was a great man. I had many memorable times, and I appreciate all he did for the community. And thank you for having this program today.
Is there anyone else who now would like to share something or tell a story or... Yes? You want to come up here? We're going to do the microphone or...
I was making an apology. I just had knee replacement.
Get close to the microphone.
I was determined to come on up here. My name is Mabel Herron Meek, and I've been married 67 years to my husband Roy, but I went to school with him, and I was 2 years ahead of Pernell. But I was in the glee club and in the ensemble, and I like to sing and still like to talk. But anyway, Pernell was 2 grades behind me, and every musical that we had, he always had part in. And I could just see him now, how he could jump out there on that stage in the quickest step you've ever seen. But Ms. Ruth Murray was the pianist at that time, and her daughter's husband was choral director at Valdosta College. And he would come over and put on musicals, and Pauline's wife, Martha, who I don't know if she's still in it, but he is the dentist here, was the vocalist. And she was very good, but I was in the ensemble, which was 11 of us. But the things I can look back and remember how he sprang out on that stage, and before you know it, he'd be behind you. Or it's just, I think it was you I talked to yesterday on the phone. I told her, I said it was just such memories that I had. I wanted somebody to know about it. But I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to see everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Mabel. Lovely to have you here.
Thank you. I might have to leave.
That's okay. You have to go, that's all right.
To me, that after 50 years, this man is honored and loved. When I found Bonanza World and found that there were thousands and thousands of fans all over the world, I was amazed at that, because I thought I was the only one that really cared, because he was just a special person in my life. In January, I got an email from my friend in Bakersfield, California. The subject line was, "He's gone." I knew exactly what she meant. We were expecting that. And